on KYDS 91.5 FM Sacramento.
Welcome to Action Callers. Tonight on Action Callers is our community changemaker, Dave Cox, who is an assemblyman, right?
Member of the California Assembly, Reva, representing the 5th Assembly District.
And where is that 5th Assembly
District? The 5th
District?
Assembly District is contained in the northern one-third of Sacramento County. So when you start over with Folsom, and then it includes Citrus Heights, Fair Oaks, Orangevale, Antelope, Citrus Heights, North Highlands, Rio Linda, Alberta, little part of Carmichael, parts of Sacramento and Natomas. It's the northern one-third of Sacramento County.
So you probably have had a lot of things to do with Heather Fargo and Rob Kurth, who are from kind of those areas.
Well, Miss Fargo and Mr. Kurth are both running for mayor of the city of Sacramento. I know them very well, both of them. Both are well qualified. So it's a situation where they're both out hustling over the next 45 some days, just as Mr. Bush and Mr. Gore and all of us who are running. They're out asking people to support them.
So, but you're not running right now.
Yes, I am.
Oh, you are running.
As a member of the California Assembly, we run every 2 years. The maximum terms we can serve are 3 terms in the California Assembly.
In a row?
In a row, and then you're termed out.
Then can you run again?
You can't run again for the Assembly.
You can't never?
Ever.
Really?
The maximum time that you can serve is 6 years in the Assembly. And if you're fortunate enough to run and get elected to the Senate, you can serve 2 4-year terms in the Senate, or a total of 8 years total. So maximum in state legislature is 14 years, the 6 in the Assembly and the 8 in the Senate.
So you plan to run for Senate maybe soon?
The answer to your question is probably not. What happens as it relates to the Senate term, the current seat is held by Ms. Ortiz, and there's an overlap. I will have been out of the Assembly for a period of 2 years when Ms. Ortiz
is building up her...
Well, when she, in fact, is termed out. So it's a period of 2 years that I will have been out of office. And so unless there's some serious changes made, I guess I will find myself hopefully serving out the 6 years in the Assembly, and then go back into my primary occupation, which is the insurance business.
So tell me, what do you like about being in the Assembly and being in public office?
Well, let me tell you, let me just go back and tell you a little bit about my background.
Absolutely. Let's hear about it.
I came to Sacramento in 1976 in the insurance business and immediately got involved in the community where there was a Chamber of Commerce. I became a member of the KVIE, the public television station, ultimately became the chairman of the board. And then there was an opening on the SMUD board, Sacramento Municipal Utility District, and I served a total of 4 years there, 1 term. And then there was an opening on the Board of Supervisors, and so I ran for that and won. Jim String was the supervisor at the time and decided he wasn't going to run again. So I ran for that. I was elected. I was unopposed going into my 2nd term, and I served 2 years of that.
Were you unopposed because everybody was afraid to run against you and they knew you had an in?
Let me just tell you that very modestly. I hope that it was a situation where people thought I was doing a good job. Yet you never know whether or not you're going to have opposition or not. So then, because of term limits, the 5th Assembly District person was termed out, and so I decided to leave the Board of Supervisors and ran for the Assembly, and thankfully I was elected. And so that was 2 years ago, and in November, I will be running again. I'm fortunate this time to have only a Libertarian person running. There isn't a Democrat, so it's myself and a fellow by the name of Eugene Frazier, a good man. And so during the last 8 years, if you will, haven't had a great deal of competition. And I think some of that's because we endeavor to do a good job. Our primary objective as a member of the California Assembly is to, in fact, meet the needs of our constituents in the 5th Assembly District. And it was to meet the needs of, as a member of the Board of Supervisors, to meet the needs of the people in the 4th Supervisorial District, which I represented. And before that, when I was on the SMUD board, was to meet the needs of the SMUD ratepayer.
So how does one has a constituency that votes them in, but then there's always the bigger picture. How does one handle that? I mean, when you vote, do you always kind of have to vote for just exactly what your consistency wants, or if you see a bigger picture that will help the group in the long run? How do you make some of those decisions?
Well, I think you have to look at the issue on its merits, and you have to make a decision. You obviously want to know how it impacts your constituents, how it impacts the people of the region that you represent, how it impacts the people of the state of California, and for that matter, the United States of America. Our decisions primarily have to do with the state and local issues. And so you try to make those decisions based upon merit. You hear lots of testimony. You get lots of input. And by the way, before we go too much farther, let me say to you that if those who are listening will get out their pen, I want to give some telephone numbers.
Great.
And I want to do it now and then again.
At the end.
And do that.
Okay, before you do that, I just want to also say, for those of you who are listening for the first time that don't know a little bit about the system on this show, is that you can call in, and let me give you the phone number while you're getting that pen now, so that you can call in and talk to Dave Cox or myself, and you can ask him questions, you can ask me questions. You can also call in if you have a problem that you're dealing with in the community, or something that's been bothering you and you find yourself just complaining all the time about that thing. Well, this is the program to call if you have a complaint. However, there's the big however, you have to be willing to be coached by Dave and myself, or whoever the change makers on the show are that Wednesday night. So please feel free to call us with your complaint, and then you have the expertise. Here's a man, Dave Cox, who has been on the Board of Supervisors. He's been on all the different boards. He's been in the Assembly. I mean, here's a man who probably knows how to get things done, or he wouldn't have been elected all these times. And people staying away from running against him because they know he's done a good job.
Don't go quite that far, but thank you.
Thank you, but that often happens. People decide not to run because it's.
And what's the number of this call-in program?
Okay, and this call-in program number is 916-456-5199, and just give us a call and ask to talk to David or myself, and Michael will be picking up the phone and talking to you and getting you on the air. So.
And with that, let me give you two additional numbers.
Okay, got your pencils? You'll need it for the whole show. Our
office telephone number, the 5th Assembly District, is area code 916-319-2005. Now, that office is, generally speaking, open 9 to 5, 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. So I want to give you my home telephone number.
Your home phone
for those
number.
people who are listening, and if you need to talk to a member of the California Assembly sometime other than doing business hours, my home telephone number is 916-965-5140. I'll give that telephone number out again.
Okay.
I give it to all of the people who attend. For the most part, all of our correspondence lists my home telephone number.
Got an email?
Have an email, davecox@davecox.com. Let me just tell you for a moment about the telephone calls.
Yeah, tell me about that.
I get calls at home, I get calls at the office. But I received a call the other night from a lady that I had been speaking with during the week who was having some difficulty with her HMO. She was looking for some assistance, and we were able to get her that assistance, but she called me at 1 a.m.
Whoa.
Now, I will tell you that from my old days of going to college, I worked in a mortuary. And so I can answer that telephone on the first ring and then still go back to sleep. Mm-hmm. So I answered the telephone. We were able to talk about her problem. I will tell you I'm fairly direct in the when you call at 1 o'clock in the morning, because it's not time to just chit-chat about. But
you got to get back to your dreams.
Absolutely. But at any rate, it's a situation people are welcome to call. The home telephone number is 965-5140. The office telephone number is 319-2005, and if people have any kind of problems that they think we can be of assistance, we're happy to
Good, and you can get them right here, right now at 6:15, and you won't have to wake them up tonight. So call us at 456-5199 and talk with Dave Cox and myself and see if we can't help you figure out what you can do to solve the problem that you have. And, you know, you're probably not the only one that has the problem, and so some of the other listeners might want to, could use the help that you're going to get from us, and you're the one that had the courage to call. So please, we're really, I think, kind of nice people here, and so give us a call. We're not going to put you down. We're not going to any of those things. So just call, and we'll just have a conversations like three friends. Okay. So going back in your history, I'd like you, even if you can, go back even further. When did you first become kind of an activist? When was your first kind of thing as a kid?
Well, I would tell you, if I were to go back, I had been an activist all my life from that standpoint. I was a member of the student council of the high school that I graduated from.
Mm-hmm.
I was an activist in college. I graduated from the University of San Diego several years ago. I think activist is a different kind of word. I like to think of myself as someone who is in the community and who is involved. And being involved, of course, also means you're an activist. And so when I first came to Sacramento in 1976, one of the very first things I did was to join the trade organization, the local trade organization that my industry is part of. In addition to that, I got involved in the Chamber of Commerce, got interested in KVIE, the public television station.
Well, what drew you to KVIE?
They simply were looking for members of the board, directors.
Mm-hmm.
There were some vacancies. I ran. I lost.
Mm-hmm. You lost?
I lost.
Oh.
And so because of that and my interest, I was appointed when there was a vacancy. There was an annual meeting, and there were, 5 or 6, 7 people who ran.
Mm-hmm.
But I have always been involved in my community, involved in my church, and I think it's important. If you want to make a difference in our society today, you have got to be involved.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't get up to bat, if you're not involved, you're letting somebody else do it for you.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, when I decided to run for political office, I did it because I thought I could do as good a job or better than the person who was there.
Mm-hmm.
And there are lots of people who are well qualified. Sometimes you have to have a rather thick skin.
That's why I'm afraid of running for office. I don't know if I have a thick enough skin.
You get lots of satisfaction out of doing things. You get lots of satisfaction out of helping people, assisting.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you that being at the state level is a little bit different than being on the Board of Supervisors.
Getting lonely?
No. Let me explain to you this way.
Okay.
You know, on the SMUD board, for example, if your electricity went out,
you call.
Somebody would pick up the telephone and say, "Dave, my electricity's out." And I could get something done in a relatively short period of time. On the Board of Supervisors, people would call the office and say, "Dave, our trash wasn't picked up today." I could get the trash picked up. It's a situation of, I think they want to do a station ID right now. So let's stop talking for just a moment.
All right.
Sacramento's alternative choice is The Voice, 91.5 FM, 88.7 cable FM, and worldwide via streaming media at sacramento.org.
Okay, so you were telling us a little bit about...
So what I was saying to you was about the difference in offices, elected offices, the differences between the SMUD board and the difference between the Board of Supervisors. But if somebody didn't get their garbage picked up, they would call the office. I can have that garbage picked up by the afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
And then I could check to see whether it was done the next time.
So people should really call their supervisors and
Absolutely.
call people.
Absolutely. Let me give you Roger Nilo's telephone number if you live in the 5th Assembly
All
District.
right, go ahead.
His telephone number is 874-5491.
One more time.
874-5491.
Great.
And If you live in the 5th Assembly District, a good portion of that is in the 4th Supervisorial District. Roger Nilo represents one side of the district, and Roger Dickinson represents the other side. But if you call the Board of Supervisors and you get your problem is in Mr. Dickinson's area, they're going to transfer you from Mr. Nilo's office anyway. So the number is 874-5491. The important consideration is this. If you have a problem, what you need to do is pick up the phone and ask somebody to do something about it. Now, if they don't do something about it, then you have reason to complain.
Well, should the supervisors be doing that, or should you be able to call the Department of the SMUD or the this or that, and shouldn't they do it?
My preference is and the thing that I preached and continue to preach, and that is, if you call me, I will record it. I'll get you in the system, and then I'll follow up. Now, are we, every single time, do we get something solved? I mean, can we resolve every issue? The answer is no. But by and large, the majority of the time, you call me with a problem, I can solve it. For example, the largest number of calls that we have right now are with the Department of Motor Vehicles. Somebody's having difficulty with getting a license renewed, somebody's having difficulty with this or with that, and so we get lots of calls about the Department of Motor Vehicles. And so we have a special person in the Department of Motor Vehicles that we go to. They then, in fact, look into it, they get back to us, and we report back to the individual.
If that is your assembly job or in the...
assembly job, yeah. Didn't deal with from the Board of Supervisors, didn't deal with the Department of Motor
DMV.
Vehicles. But in that particular issue, you were dealing with the Department of Human Services, or you're dealing with Public Works, or any number of agencies.
Counties.
The important consideration is if you've got a problem, you ought to let your elected person know about it. And if they don't get the job done, then you have every right to vote for somebody else the next time. If they do get the job done, you ought to pick up the telephone and thank them or write them a note. And at the same time,
I mean, they're human and they really enjoy receiving a letter and an email.
Everyone who runs for elected office and holds elected office enjoys and appreciates that psychic income you get when somebody says, thank you, I appreciate your effort.
Thanks. So listen, give us a call and maybe we can help you with something that's going on in your life. Give us a call at 916-456-5199, or maybe you have a complaint that's something that's going on in the assembly that you don't like. And we have Dave Cox here from the state's assembly, who's here and knows how to move things around.
Reva, let me say to you that probably as important as anything else is that this election that's coming up in November.
I feel it's really important.
It's critical.
Critical.
It's not so critical as to how you vote, but that you vote. And I, by and large, people don't vote as often, as regularly as they should. But if you want to make a difference, you in fact have to vote. It's your way to change the system. If you don't like how things are going, you have the ability to, in fact, vote somebody out of office.
Yeah, there's a lot of people running for office that are from different parties that we've hardly ever heard from. Like there's the Democrats and the Republicans and the Libertarians and the Green Party, and I don't know, is Peace and Freedom still
Peace
around?
and Freedom, American, I'm just trying to think of the other, but there are 5 or 6 people that, I think there are 6 or 7 people who are running for the President of the United States. It's not just Mr. Bush and Mr. Gore. There's lots of other people that are running.
Yeah, where would one complain if one really felt kind of angry about Nader not being able to get up and be in the debate, and Buchanan not being allowed in the debates?
You need to write, and I don't have the address in front of me, but you need to write to the Presidential Debate Commission. There's a special commission that is responsible for putting the rules and regulations together, if you will, about the debate. I'm one, by the way, who believes that if you're on the ticket, if your name is on the ballot, that you, in fact, ought to have the opportunity to debate. My guess, however, is that a large portion of that is driven by the networks. It is from the time to put one of these together is not insignificant. And so if you have, there isn't, by the way, there's not a chance that Mr. Nader is going to win. There's not a chance that Mr. Buchanan.
That sounds like a challenge to some of you out there, I bet.
Well,
yeah,
but
I
the
understand
reality
what you're
is
saying.
they're not going to win. Some place down in the future, there may be a third-party candidate who, in fact, wins. But I believe that everyone ought to have the opportunity to participate in a debate. And I don't know whether Mr. Bush or Mr. Gore said, we're not going to do this, but there's an independent commission that's responsible for putting the rules and regulations together as it relates to the presidential debate.
Yeah, I kept thinking, well, if these are such powerful men, both Gore and Bush, why didn't they speak up? And what are they afraid of, or if they're afraid of anything?
I don't think they're afraid of anything.
You don't think so?
I think what the reality is that they're more concerned and recognize that Mr. Nader, Mr. Buchanan, they're not going to, in fact, win. So this is a race between Mr. Bush and Mr. Gore. And I'm sure in their mind, they would prefer not to have any.
Yeah, sure.
Prefer not to have any distractions.
Yeah, they didn't even, from what I understand, reading in the paper today, Nader had a ticket to go in, and they wouldn't let him in.
I think that someone thought that perhaps his presence might be disruptive, and so the Presidential Debate Commission made a decision not to allow him in.
Wow.
I don't know any of those members, and as I said, I would much prefer to see the debate with all of the candidates. But it's a situation where the candidates in the smaller parties, Peace and Freedom, Libertarian, they're not going to win. This is a race between Mr. Bush and Mr. Gore.
Well, it may be, but in this democracy that we have, it would seem like something should be done about that. Maybe even separate time for them. I don't know,
well,
but something creative.
Both Mr. Nader and Mr. Buchanan were both on Meet the Press this last Sunday. They're getting lots of airtime. They're just not participating in this debate. Now, if the Presidential Debate Commission came along and said, well, Mr. Nader, we're going to let you debate Mr. Buchanan. If I were Mr. Nader, I'd say, thank you very much. If you're not going to let me debate Mr. Gore and Mr. Bush, I'm not participating. Thanks very much. I'm either doing this with the big boys or I'm not. But from the standpoint of airtime, they're getting lots of press. Last numbers I saw, Mr. Nader's going to get 2 or 3%. Mr. Buchanan's going to get 1.5%, 2%. And so from that standpoint, there will be 6 or 7 percentage points.
But again, what if they had appeared on a debate with the big boys?
They're going to get the same percentage.
You think so?
Yeah.
Well, with that we don't know. I leave it as a question in my own mind. I'm not I think I have a feeling that they should be allowed to. What the politics and all that around it are, I can only make some guesses and probably wrong ones too.
Well, not necessarily, but everybody ought to have their opinion as to what ought to occur there.
Yeah. So if any of you who are listening in have an opinion about this, give us a call and let's hear your point of view. If you're from the Green Party or from the Libertarian group, give us a call at 456-5199. And if you're with the Republican Party and the Democrats, give us a call too and give us your point of view, how you felt about what you read about in the paper today and what you saw last night. That was kind of an exciting debate to watch.
Yes, it was. Let me tell you, before we move into the next half hour of this program, let me start with the aspect of the California. The state of California. We have now moved into the 6th position as far as our product. When you take a look at the United States of America, we're number 1 as far as the GNP. The state of California is now number 6th. We were 7th. We're now number 6th, which is pretty remarkable.
In the growth?
The global economy.
Oh, the global
We would
economy.
have the 6th largest economy.
In the whole world.
In the whole world, if we were to separate California out from
the United States.
From the United States. The significant part of that is this.
And you're part of the assembly that has has a lot.
We have got just an unbelievable economy, and it's a situation of where we've had a prosperity for a long period of time. My guess is it's going to continue because of the internet. But I noticed that you're ready now for a timeout.
Oh, I didn't hear. Is it time? I guess so. Thanks. We'll be right back.
Community Radio for Sacramento, The Voice.
Hi, this is Mike Lidskin of Twirl, the finest music from the rock era. Do you wonder where all your favorite critically acclaimed musical artists can be found? Right here. On Twirl, you'll hear a lot of great recorded music out there that's been neglected by the other Sacramento radio stations. You'll also hear a lot of obscure gems and forgotten hits by really popular artists. And of course, we'll play the occasional oddball novelty record just to keep the mix lively. So listen to Twirl each week on Sacramento's Voice.
Catch Twirl Saturdays from 4 to 6 on The Voice.
For over 35 years, Peace Corps volunteers have been solving problems around the world. Many continue their commitment to service right here at home. Meet Dr. Javad Mashkouri, a returned volunteer from Mali, West Africa, who is now making a difference in his community.
I joined the Peace Corps because it gave me an opportunity to do something worthwhile in a place that was much different than the place that I grew up and knew. When I got to Mali, it blew me away. My job was to train local masons and well diggers to construct safe drinking water wells. Peace Corps showed me what happens when you don't have access to health care. We were providing clean water, which to everyone there is health, and we try to do the same thing here by providing health care. I'd recommend the Peace Corps to anyone that was thinking about any job. It's given me more self-confidence in dealing with patients and other people. I think in Peace Corps you learn the value of service. You're going to want to be in a position to give service back.
Peace Corps volunteers, changing the world, changing America. Make a difference. Call 800-424-8580. Peace Corps, the toughest job you'll ever love.
Hello, I'm Shane Carpenter, Program Manager of Sacramento's Voice. We at Access Sacramento are embarking on a grand adventure to bring local community radio back home. We've created a radio station that reflects the cultural enrichment of Greater Sacramento, and you can help. Call 456-5199 anytime and tell us what your community is doing and how we can help. Sacramento's Voice is your voice. Together, creating community radio. You are tuned to the Voice of Sacramento, the community-use cable radio station where you create and produce your own radio programs. Access Sacramento empowers Sacramento County residents through technical training and assistance. Visit us at the Coloma Community Center at 4623 T Street, Sacramento, California. Funds for the operation of this channel are provided in part by the Sacramento Metropolitan Cable Television Commission. Questions or comments may be addressed to the Commission at 828 I Street, Sacramento, California, 95814. Reach the Commission by telephone at area code 916-440-6661. Sacramento's alternative choice is The Voice. Reach us at 456-5199. The Voice is 88.7 Cable FM and KYDS 91.5 FM Sacramento.
Okay, we're back on Action Callers, and I'm Reva, Camiel, your host, and I have Dave Cox, who is an assemblyman with the state, what do we call it? The State Assembly.
State Assembly, member of the California Legislature, you bet.
Yeah, legislature. That was one of the words I wanted to get out.
You were telling me a few minutes ago, and I was explaining to you earlier that we traded, as a member of the Board of Supervisors, we used to get calls about other things, but being in the California Assembly, we get lots of calls about the Department of Motor Vehicles, and you were telling me about a very pleasant experience that you had with the
Yes,
department.
I had a wonderful experience with the DMV. I've heard people complain about the DMV for years, and I had a lovely thing happen once. I called one day to find out if my license, if I needed to get a new license or something like that. And the young man looked it up, and he looked at, I guess, my background as a driver, and he says, I really want to acknowledge you, Reva, for you haven't had a ticket in over 4 years. And he says, hooray for you.
Well,
and that was really sweet, when you hear people talk about how impersonal the DMV is and other kinds of agencies or state workers, which I used to be one of. And
Well, you know,
It was fun.
we have almost I think it's 33 million people in the state of California, some 20 million cars, and we've got the Department of Motor Vehicles does a good job. But in terms of number of complaints, we get more complaints about the department, and it's because the sheer volume that they're dealing with. There are lots of dedicated employees at the Department of Motor Vehicles that go to work every day, and their intention is to do the very best job that they can do, and they do that. And just as any other state agency, there are lots of great employees. And just like any other situation, there are some that don't do their job as well as they could. But by and large, my experience with the state worker is that they are in fact competent. They're interested in about doing a good job, and they do a good job. And so I don't have any complaint about that. But the sheer volume.
Well, there's a lot of people who go through the DMV for one thing and another, and sometimes you're kind of mad if you've had a ticket and you're trying to take care of something, or you have a car that's been banged up like I had. I got rear-ended in April, and you know, you call there. It's important for that people treat you nice, and it's easy to get angry at the person in front of you. If you're hurting and you're feeling, oh my God, I know I got to buy a new car, and oh now I got the payments again, and
Right.
all those things. So people come in an upset way, and sometimes
It's a very
don't explain themselves well enough
Sure.
or whatever.
It's very difficult.
And so many languages.
Sometimes it's difficult. Let me give that home telephone number again. It's 916-965-5140. And if we don't get any
Okay,
calls,
that's Dave Cox's home number that he's given out, and if you have problems, he's open to hearing from you.
I would hope that if you wouldn't just call in the middle of the night to see how I'm doing, or something such as that.
Or call at the dinner hour.
No, I mean that's that we take lots of calls, and so generally speaking, we're able to be of assistance.
That sounds
not
well
always.
above and beyond the call of duty.
Well, that's kind of our mark. We're kind of the go-to people. If you want something done because of our experience in local government, we generally speaking know where to go. May not get it always solved, and so I don't want to tell you that we have absolute perfection, because that's not the case. But by and large, we do a pretty good job of solving problems.
Listen, if you have a problem, call us here right now at 916-456-5199. Give us a call.
I have a great staff out in our district office. Julie Blazona Colleen handles lots of our constituent calls. And I just got a thank you note today from a lady that Julie had assisted in getting a handicapped placard. And so, you know, it's just those little things. It's what you're supposed to do.
Is that what gives you the pleasure, or the little things? Or?
It's getting something done. You know, it's a great thrill to write a piece of legislation and get it signed and put into law. Let me tell you about one situation.
Oh, I'd love
if
to
I
hear
may,
about
for just
that.
a moment.
Sure.
We read in a newspaper article by Ms. Irwin about this young lad who wanted to get a driver's license, and all through he was 17 years of age, and all through his mom and he had been using the ceremonial birth certificate they had gotten from the local hospital. And come age 17, he wanted to get a driver's license. So they wouldn't take the ceremonial birth certificate, so he had to go down to the Department of Motor Vehicles. His mom, Vital Statistics. His mom went down to the Department of Vital Statistics. She got the birth certificate, came home, gave it to her son, and the box was checked female.
Oh, my goodness.
So 17 years later, and you know there are lots of things that are happening in the delivery room, and they ask you to sign the birth certificate and all that sort of thing. And so it's
right after you've given birth, and maybe we're under sedation or something like that.
So I mean, it's an understandable situation, and she had not seen didn't recall having seen the birth certificate. So we read about this in Ms. Irwin's column. We then found out that this person was a constituent of ours, and what we had to do. And by the way, there was a process that they could go through. The very first process was to go back to the Department of Motor Vital Statistics, and that department then hand wrote a change, and the change said change from female to male.
Oh, so they thought he had a sex change, huh?
No, what I'm talking about is the process. So they staple this change on the back of the birth certificate. This is not satisfactory. They could have gone to court, cost them a lot of money to, in fact, have the changes made. So what we were able to do, and the governor signed, was to get a bill where if there had been an honest mistake, one that could in fact be verified.
Verified. 17 years later?
Well, it's a situation that we had lots of concern about whether it was a sex change operation or that sort of thing. But a doctor comes along and says, this is a male, it's not a female, it's not a sex change operation, and so we made the process so that if a honest mistake was made, there could be a change, and the original document, would be replaced. And so now this young man will have the opportunity to have a birth certificate that says that 17 years ago he was born a male as opposed to a female, and he won't have to have just a stapled handwritten change notice
that must have been
on the back of the birth certificate. So those are the things that give you pleasure. And then you have other situations where you take pleasure because you give some tax relief. We've got a large budget surplus in the state of California, in large measure because the economy is so healthy. When you take a look at the dollars that are coming in of our general fund, which is about $72 billion.
I can't even think in those numbers.
It's a lot of money,
yet.
isn't it? The largest percent of those dollars, that $72 billion, comes from your personal your personal income tax. And the personal income tax, because we have got an economy in the state of California that is just robust, and we've got such low unemployment that we literally have about, I guess, somewhere in the neighborhood of almost 40% of our revenue comes from the personal income tax. And then...
And our taxes in California aren't that high anymore.
Well, all taxes are high.
Well,
Taxes,
I don't think so.
All taxes are too high.
I don't agree.
Well,
I'm one of those few people who I really appreciate my streets, and I appreciate my roads, and I appreciate all the kinds of things that we have in this country. I've traveled the world over, and some places don't have, many places don't have what we have. And I appreciate all the things that we have, and those things cost money.
There isn't any question about that they cost money. We're only talking about whether we ought to have a surplus. We got a surplus as far as the federal government's concerned. Got a surplus as far as the state government's concerned. When you have a surplus, that means that you have more revenue coming in than you have expenses. My general experience is that it won't take the politicians long either
to find a place to put it.
Spend it.
Right.
And so what it means when you have a surplus is that you've collected too much. And so, frankly, my side of the aisle pushed for returning a significantly greater amount than we were able to actually get through on the budget, return to the taxpayer. That's a topic for another story, another program. The important consideration, I think, is that the fact that the largest portion of our revenue in the state of California comes from personal income tax. The second greatest source, by a factor of 2, is the sales tax that we have. So if we collect about 40% of our revenue from personal income tax, we collect about 20% of our revenue from sales tax. So we are the benefactors of just a great economy. And for all indication, it looks as if it's going to continue.
Yeah. What I'd like to see, is a plan. Personally, I would like to see some visionary kind of thinking about what we want for ourselves as a society. And maybe during these good times, once we get a good plan that we can all agree upon, that we go for the vision. And, I know in my income bracket, if I get $100 back, so I'm going to buy myself a little goodie or something like that. I would like to see that $100 go into a vision of what is possible for our society, and not just give a couple of bucks back.
Right. Reva, let me talk about some of the things that have occurred during the 2 years that I have been a member of the California Assembly. understand also that you had Daryl Steinberg here. Daryl Steinberg and I are very good friends. He's on the other side of the aisle. He was a former member of the Sacramento City Council. Worked with him there. But he's on the Democratic side, and I'm on the Republican side. But let me just tell you about some of the things that happened in the state of California during these last 2 years that Daryl and I have been in the California Assembly. Number one, the funding for education has increased. We now have a per pupil average of somewhere in the neighborhood, average now, of about $6,800. That puts us just a little bit above the norm as far as
and we're not the bottom of the.
We're not the bottom. We're not the top, but we're above the.
So it seemed like
average.
a state like ours that's number 6 in the world bringing in money, that we should have some good schools so that we can continue to stay that way and have an educated population.
We have lots of good schools. We've got lots of problems, but we have lots of good schools. You know, when you test fourth graders worldwide, you compare our kids to kids around the world, we test in the top 1/3
in reading.
In the reading, math.
But not math, though. I think math we were the lowest.
No, I'm talking about of the fourth grade now.
Oh.
Okay, fourth graders.
Fourth graders.
I'm just comparing fourth graders around the world. And so when you compare the fourth graders, we're in the top 1/3. By the time you get to the 8th grade, we're in the top 50% worldwide. When you compare kids to kids, educational standards, educational standards. When you get to the 12th grade, we're in the bottom 1/3.
Pretty sad.
And we've got some serious problems that I think in large measure, well, we'll talk about that. Is it time for a break?
I think so. Okay, we'll be right back.
Sacramento's alternative choice is The Voice, 91.5 FM, 88.7 cable FM, worldwide via streaming media at sacramento.org.
Okay, and we're back here, and we were saying...
You know, we were talking about education, and I had just talked with you about the fact that where we test on a worldwide, global basis. The fact is that we've got lots of dedicated teachers. We've got lots of schools that are doing very well. And then we've got some schools that aren't doing well.
Is there, I haven't looked at the reports, are the schools that are doing poorly, are they mostly low-income communities, immigrant populations, or are they middle class and or upper class as well?
For the most part, the schools that are not doing as well as some of the other schools is where there are minorities where there's a problem as far as poverty is concerned, and so those are situations that we have to deal with. I just read a news release that the governor put out today that talked about the test scores as it relates to the kids in the state of California. We actually had a measurable increase, and so that's good news. You were talking about taking your $100 and doing something with it. We're doing some things in education. Now,
that's good.
It is good.
I like that. I'd like my $100 to go to that.
Let me say to you that there are some of us that have a little different vision.
Okay, I'd like to hear yours.
But there's some 86,000 rules and regulations that our public schools have to deal with.
I know.
I believe that they're overregulated, and in large measure, what we have to have occur is return control to the local jurisdiction. It's the local school board that knows best. And so this year, I found myself in a situation where if it had to do with something local, I supported it. If it had to do with Sacramento supporting, I voted against it.
If it had something to do with what? I'm sorry, I didn't
Sacramento controlling. In other words, if you brought it back...
Sacramento, the state of California.
The state of California.
Right, okay, gotcha.
If you brought it back and had the state of California making the decisions, I believe it's the local jurisdiction. I believe that the people out in the San Juan school districts know better how to take care of the needs for those kids who live in that district as opposed to someone in Sacramento. Now, that's not saying they're just not qualified from a centralized standpoint. I'm just simply saying it is local control that best serves the educational needs. Let me move for a moment about infrastructure, because as you travel up and down the state, as I did today, one of the things that you notice that we have a tremendous need for infrastructure improvement. And I want to talk now about infrastructure from a standpoint of highways and roads.
Okay.
We know that there's a need. There is a need in excess of $100 billion in the next 10 years. And what we have got to do is that we have got to begin, in fact, dedicating a stream of income on an annual basis, not bonded indebtedness, but a stream of income, 3, 4, 5% of our general fund to go towards the improvement of streets and roads in the state of California to bring our infrastructure back up to speed. You want to take this break?
No, we don't have a break. Yeah, no break right now.
Break.
No, we're going to be giving some announcements in a few minutes, but I wanted to make sure you had your opportunity to tell us about some of the important things that we need to know.
Let's talk about the infrastructure for just a moment. We talked about
Sure.
the over the next 10 years, $100 billion need. Every city, county in the state of California has infrastructure needs. And the really great strides were made in the 50s and the 60s. And we haven't done a great deal in terms of improving our highways.
Byways.
We made some progress in Sacramento as it relates to light rail, and I'm pleased to have served on the Regional Transit Board. And we've got a situation now where we're going to finish the line out to Folsom this year, maybe the early part of next year, now that I think about it. And then we're going to expand the line down in Meadowview, and ultimately we'll go further down. That's a major step. Still not enough, but it's a major step.
Yeah, I was thinking that maybe we don't need more roads. Maybe we need to get people on more light rail and people onto more trains, and that we have to stop being so dependent on our big old automobiles and those gas eater-uppers talking about expenses. $2 a gallon.
I suspect this program is not long enough for you and I to debate that issue. So let's talk about that for just a moment.
Okay, just 1 second, and then we will
Sure.
have to break. Great, go ahead.
Oh, what I was going to say, when you take a look at the major metropolitan areas in America and in Europe, when you look east of the Mississippi, what you find is that the municipal New York City, they built up. And they built up. They didn't have the automobile. As you move farther west, what we have is the communities, in fact, moved out. And it's that automobile that gave us the ability to do that. And now everybody, of course, says, oh, woe is me. I mean, the automobile and the gas guzzler. But the fact of the matter is
the traffic.
that has given us the quality of life in California.
Well, I moved from L.A. because I couldn't. I was commuting 1.5 hours each way, bumper to bumper. Kept me away from my home. It was very hard. My back even got bad.
And when you came to Sacramento, you brought all the problems you had in Los Angeles.
I'm sorry, everybody, that I did that.
Well, that's true. I mean,
when I came here, I laughed when I heard the people on the radio say, the traffic is terrible. We're moving at only 45 miles an hour, and I had just left, 5 miles an hour.
Sure.
And
they move a lot of people in Los Angeles on those freeways, and I was there today. Let me just also tell you about one.
Well, I am going to have. Well, can you come back another time?
Oh, I could come back another time. I'd love visiting with you.
I'd love talking with you. It's really great to be able to just have this conversation, for me to share my ideas and for you to share yours. I learn a lot from you. So thank you so much, Dave Cox, for being here. And would you want to give them your address or a phone number
Let me give you one more time. The office cell phone number is 916-319-2005. And the home telephone number, if for some reason you need to call me in hours that are not normal business hours, it's 916-965-5140.
5140. Okay, and I want to remind you to register to vote if you haven't voted, and you only have until October 10th, and that's just a few more days to register. And you can register at your local post office and in many public places where volunteers are out there encouraging you to register to vote so that you will have a say in how you want your government to govern. Registering to vote is an action, and then voting on November 7th is another action. Every one of us counts. You can register and vote if you turn 18 by Election Day. And this coming Saturday, October 7th, the League of Women Voters are hosting a Candidate Media Day at the County Board of Supervisors at 8th and H. Every hour, different city and county candidates will be asked questions by media people. I will be one of the questioners of Rob Kurth and Heather Fargo, both candidates for Sacramento mayor, at 3 p.m. on Saturday, this coming Saturday at 3 p.m. I look forward to meeting you at that event. And so stay tuned to Interaction immediately after this program to hear about an innovative group that inspires cancer patients to find creative ways to enjoy each day of their life. Carol Purin and several courageous, creative people will share their learnings that they have integrated into their life as an outcome of participating in healing journeys. Again, thank you, Dave Cox, for your time and energy and creativity. And I'd love to have you back, and we'll talk after the election. And right now, I'd like to acknowledge our volunteers, Michael Geller, who is our engineer on the program, and he's a workers' comp attorney in Sacramento. And this is a state-of-an-art program, and you can get hold of us at 456-5199. And I look forward to hearing from you in the next few days. And stay in touch. Bye-bye.